Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Fireplace podcast. We are here with Christie Huff. Hey.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun so far.
Yes, no, your performance was amazing. I was hearing when you were first sound checking, I was like, oh my God, that's like really good. Like that song, specifically the first one. Both were really good. But when I heard the first one while you were sound checking, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like I cannot wait. And it was so amazing. Yeah, we wanted to have you here to perform, but also talk a little bit about yourself and let people know more about you and your experience, like your career, music career, and your life a little bit, if you let us.
I am an open book.
Okay, great. Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Well, I am from Arizona originally, and decided like my senior year of high school, I was like, I want to pursue music and go that route. Wow. So then I went to Nashville for a little bit and recorded my first 2 albums in Nashville. Bright-eyed, like 18-year-old, know nothing about the industry at all.
But you went and did it.
I went, yes. Well, and you know what? Sometimes I feel like being naive can also be a good thing because you're so like, oh yeah, okay, so I guess I'll go and record an album and then I'm gonna start taking it to labels. That's awesome. You learn quickly, no, that's not how it works, But I will say, I think that just the naiveness of, in that innocence kind of makes you not so afraid because you don't know. You're just like, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll go and record and then I'll do this. And then I moved to LA probably a couple months after I went to Nashville, mainly because I'm like, the biggest question I always get asked, because I do country pop music, they're like, a country artist in LA? Why? How? And honestly, I love LA. I love Nashville. I go back to Nashville often, but
I definitely want to ask you more about that.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, LA, at the time when I moved out here, I was 18, so I couldn't get into bars. So my mom and my dad were because I'm from Arizona, they would drive out whenever I had shows to be my chaperone. So that was a big reason why I chose LA, because I'm like, I need to perform, but I need a chaperone.
Right.
So,
you had your parents close to you, close enough for them to come here and
exactly.
help you out.
I could drive home on the weekends if I wanted to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I want to know a little bit more about Arizona and how it was like growing up there. You said that you got into music in high school.
Yes.
So what would you say led you into that path of that's what I want to do?
Well, it's when you're a kid, I'm I have 3 sisters. So I have 2 older sisters, 1 little sister, and we, are a very kind of artsy family. One of my older sisters plays guitar and writes music, and then my other one was a ballet dancer. So I definitely looked up to all of my sisters, but especially the one who, she's 10 years older than me. She played guitar and would write songs. So I would see her doing that and I'm like, oh, I want to do that, and we loved artists like Michelle Branch and Vanessa Carlton and
oh my God, love
that. People like that. So that's I just started singing, and I would sing karaoke tracks, and then I was taking a vocal lesson in Arizona because I was just kind of singing my whole life, and I was taking a vocal lesson by a coach of mine in Arizona, and she was like, well, anybody can be a good singer. If you want to really make it in this industry, you have to write your own songs. So that really lit a spark in me. So wow. This was probably when I was I don't know. I did write a song when I was in junior high to GarageBand tracks,
Nice.
Called Crawling Back, about Lake and Anderson in my 8th grade English class. Shout out. No kidding. But yeah, that just I think ignited a spark in me, and then I got my guitar and just started writing songs every single day, my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And then that made me, I was applying to college, and then I was like, you know what? At the time I was like, I'm going to take 1 year off and pursue this music thing,
Yep.
So, and here we are so many years later, and I'm still at it. So.
Nice. That's really cool. Oh my God. Awesome. So you would say that you were just always into music, and you were like, I just have to pursue this. 100%.
Yeah. I think too, I've always loved it. And one thing about me, so I have dyslexia, which is school did not come easy to me. I can't read very well, and comprehension of just people teaching me anything, I'm just I suck at it, So for me, like school growing up wasn't the easiest. So I got my confidence singing, and I would like sing in like the talent shows and like, you know, like choir concerts. And, you know, I think like, yeah, that gave me a lot of confidence, and it was an outlet, especially like songwriting, you know. And I was having like a day at school where I was like, man, I feel like I'm never going to be anything, because I'm like, my classmates seem so far ahead of me or something. Then I would come home and like write a song, you know,
and you'd be like I'm amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the very first song I wrote was amazing.
That's so cool.
No, but yeah, like of course, you know, you're like, you write at the time when you're like, yeah, this is great, and then I go back and I listen to those songs now, I'm like, oh man.
No, that's what happens all the time.
Right.
But that's so cool.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, that's so cool that you found an outlet and like a way to, you know, be like, this is my thing, and I'm gonna follow it. You know,
yeah,
so that's so amazing. Like,
I feel lucky that I have that.
Yeah, regardless of what happened in high school or whatever, like, you know, like, you were like, this is what I have to do, and like I want to do.
Exactly. So, yes.
So we know that you just came back from a tour.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you went to London.
Yes.
So.
Do you like London?
Sorry. Okay, you guys, literally everyone knows, if you've heard this podcast many times, that I've always wanted to move to London, and I'm going to. Okay, so it's happening. But yeah. So what was the experience like over there, and like how was London?
It was so much fun. Like, I love London so much, and I mean, we talked a little bit about this like before we hit record, but you know, just like. People in, I don't know if it's like in London or just like in Europe in general, they love to go and see and hear live music. And it's people, you know, like being, I don't know, maybe like especially in LA, because there's so many different forms of entertainment, and
Absolutely.
like so I feel like almost every single form of entertainment is like a little bit saturated here.
I 100% agree. Like everyone is trying to make it, but because of that, nobody really has time to support you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when it takes an hour to get anywhere, it's
Absolutely.
like, and costs $30 to park and all, you know what I mean? It's like, it kind of makes it harder.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, like public transportation is probably, because like in London, you just take the tube, you know?
I love
and
that. The
you
tube.
can be anywhere, you know? Yeah, it's so great. But I feel like people there, it's like, they aren't going to a show to support their friend or because they know somebody. They're going to a live show because they crave that feeling of live music, you know? So that, I love that about London, and like, maybe it's just like Europe in general, you know? It's like when I was out there, I was like, man, I feel like more like a part of the world almost being here. You know what I mean? Like so many different like cultures, and you're just like by so many different countries, you know,
I
like
love that.
easier to get to, you know, than the
God.
States. You know?
I literally have to do that so much, and I will.
Yes,
but
we're moving out there. I'll come with you.
New York kind of feels the same way. I was just there. It just feels, everything is more compact. Definitely people that are performing at bars and stuff like that are doing it because they want to be there. It's like, but also, I mean, people want to perform here too. But I feel like there is a certain like, okay, we're here. People go there for the music.
Exactly.
And then you can kind of tell when someone is like really wants to hear the music, or is a musician or whatever, when like you hear the musicians play and then someone goes, or like, oh, or like just they make some noises, right? And you're like, yes. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's just like the feeling that it gives you. And like, you're like, yeah, these people are here definitely for the music,
For
right?
the music.
How was the tour though?
It was so fun. I'm like, we played some great shows. I obviously, like, I put out my own music as Christie Huff, and then the band that I went to London with, I met them. So, like, a little background on that, we're called Christie Huff and the Kerosene Hymns, which is a different kind of like project, I guess, from just like my artist project of just Christie Huff. But I met my bandmates like when I first moved to LA, and these guys are like quite a bit older than me. They're like in their 50s, and they the drummer is actually like a concert promoter here in LA. So he booked me for honestly like my first show in LA ever.
Wow.
And we just became like friends. And then back in like 2019, he reached out to me and he's like, hey, like, I know you have your own, like, you're doing your own thing, but like, you know, me and his brother, his twin brother is an amazing guitar player. Nice. So it's him, his twin brother, and then our bassist, just like another friend. He's like, we want to put a band together, and it could just be like a side thing that you do with us every once in a while. And, you know, we can like, we'll write songs together. We'll play some of your songs, some other songs that we do, and we can see what happens. so I've been doing that since 2019, and we just put out a record this year. And it's really fun because we're more like rock, and like in my own project, it's like country pop. So it's fun to kind of like dabble in, different types of music, So I was out there with them, and this was actually our 4th time going to London and playing. So
nice.
It's so fun. I feel like, we're creating like relationships and everything there. So it was so fun.
Nice. That's awesome. Dude, you were talking about that, I cannot stop thinking about the fact that you were touring in Europe. Was it just only London or was it Europe?
Yeah. So we just went to London this time. Okay. I'm hoping that we'll go back next year and do a longer run all around. That's like, I was like talking to T-Roy, which is the name of the drummer, and he's kind of like the band leader, and I was like, okay, we got to get back and we got to do this. And, and it's fun because we kind of like tag team things,
Nice.
So
that's cool.
Hopefully next year we'll be all around.
Wait, before we move to the next question, I do want to I still want to like ask a little more questions about London.
Yes.
And like what you were saying about how you felt like it's different when you play there. So how would you say like, people want to be there for the music, but like, how did you feel playing for these people? Like, were people like, could you tell like, okay, everyone is here because they want to listen to anyone play?
Yes, I think so. And too, I think what's like, so when I play shows, as Christie Huff in LA or wherever I play, it's a little bit of a different thing because, I'm kind of like the person steering the ship,
I see.
And with my band, the Kerosene Hymns, we are all like equally invested in it. Not to say that like, my collaborators that I do with my own project aren't invested in what I do, but it's just a little bit different because it's like with the Kerosene Hymns, it's like, we are the Kerosene Hymns, like,
Yep.
So I think that's another aspect of it is that like, the people who don't know us show up and are fans. And then also just between the 4 of us, we all know different people. Like I had a friend come who lives in Manchester, who I met over the pandemic, who does these like country music live sessions, like live streams. So he came in from Manchester. Other people that they knew came in for the show.
Wow.
So it was just kind of fun because it's like, sometimes
they actually like come all the way.
They came all the way. Well, and I feel like that's a different thing too about like, cause like, I mean, I've never been to Manchester yet, but I feel like they're like, cool. Yeah. I'll come to London for the weekend.
That's awesome.
Where it's like here, it's like if somebody asked me to go to San Diego, I just like would be like, I don't know. Like even asking me to go to like Hollywood sometimes from Redondo Beach. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. Like,
I know,
it's
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And, damn, I just, I think it's definitely because it's definitely a lot of saturation and stuff. But
Yes. No, but no, it was so fun. And like people after the show were like, oh my gosh, like, I love you. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Cause I think also being part of like something more than just like myself also kind of creates, I don't know, something that people want to be part of in a way. I don't know. It's just a different thing,
I see what you mean.
Because it's not just like when you're like a solo artist, I feel like, especially in today's day and age, it's like people, they like your music, but they also want to know you as a person, like because of like social media and TikTok.
Absolutely.
And like when you're part of a band, it's almost like you can just be part of the band and you can be the music.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, you don't have to be anything more than that,
Yeah.
which is cool. So yeah,
it's a different experience.
It's a different experience.
I love
and
that.
I love both, so, but
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, going back to your songwriting and how you that was your outlet. And I would love to talk about like the 2 songs that you just performed.
Yes.
And what was your inspiration, like the inspiration behind these 2 songs?
Well, yeah, I'll start with the second one that I played today because I wrote that one before.
It was such a contrast too.
It was
like,
exactly.
That,
Well, and that's why I'll start with that one because when I wrote that song, I was like in a very like toxic relationship of like a very toxic on again, off again relationship.
Situationship.
Exactly, a situationship. Hence, break up more often. And actually, like the first time I broke up, like me and this person broke up, I wrote down this title because he was like, oh, we should break up more often. Almost like our relationship got like more exciting. So I like, you know what I mean? Like, we should break up more often, And so I wrote that down and I came back to it actually maybe like a year or two later and wrote the song. I think I was like 2 in it. I wrote a lot of songs about that relationship, but what's kind of become like full circle is like I wrote that song, and then my now fiance, which I wrote the other song about, he produced, because he's a producer.
I love that.
He produced the song, Break It More Often. So I'm like, life has a way of working itself out, you know? And then the other one, like damn good life. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm cussing. No kidding.
Oh no,
no
it's
kidding.
fine.
Yeah.
Please
Not really.
cuss.
Damn's
No,
not really. But like, I wrote that, like I have been in my relationship, my healthy, good relationship.
Isn't that great?
You have to go through the bad ones to find the good ones, right?
Absolutely.
I've been in that one. Yeah,
honestly,
like, amen. Right?
Amen.
I've been in that relationship about 3 years now, and we got engaged in January, and I wrote that song.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting. But yeah, I wrote that song like not too long after we got engaged, and just, you know, had a night where I was just like, I was actually listening to Harry Styles. I love Harry Styles and his new album. I'm like, I am obsessed. I'm
Harry's
obsessed.
House?
Oh yeah, so good. I went and saw him in concert. It's great.
Oh,
I love him so much. I know.
My heart's broken. I know so many people that went to
so good.
Maybe the same concert. Was it
at the Forum? But he was there for like 2 weeks straight. He played 14 nights in a row, I think, something like that. It was insane.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it was amazing. I love Harry Styles. But I was listening to one of his songs, and I forget honestly which song it is, but the chords that I use, the chord, like in Damn Good Life, it's only 2 chords, but it's like the same chords as a Harry Styles song. And then, you know how like things like inspire you, right?
Absolutely.
So I was like, oh, cool. And then out came Damn Good Life.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us which song?
I think it was Satellite.
Oh, literally my favorite song.
I love that song. I love it. Yeah. Honestly, that whole album I can listen to over and over and over again. It's so good.
I know. Same. Okay. So cool. Did you, maybe you responded to this, but not super sure. Did you grow up with like music influences?
Oh,
at
yes.
all? Like were your parents like
what's funny because
musicians or?
They weren't, no. Like my parents are both doctors.
Love that.
And it's funny because then my oldest sister is like a nurse, and then my little sister's in medical school. I'm like the black sheep of my family. But my parents are very supportive of me, you know? But they loved music, you know, and you know, especially like growing up in Arizona, like it's a very like Western influence too. So that's why like I think I started wearing like cowboy boots to school when I was like a kid, because I was that. Like, well, and also I grew up in the age of like Taylor Swift when she was country, and like Carrie Underwood. And like Michelle Branch, she's not super country, but like that like acoustic vibe, like vibe, I guess,
right,
you know.
Right.
So, you know, those were kind of like my influences growing up. And then, of course, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the band. I love this band, Five for Fighting. They're like,
I've heard of the band.
Yeah, like they do like 100 years, you know, like I only got 100 years to live.
Oh,
that song.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Where did I hear that? I've heard
it's like been in so many like movies and like I don't know. It's been in like a lot of things.
I've definitely heard it.
I love that band, and I remember like when I was little, I would ask my dad, because I would listen to that band with my dad, and I'd be like, "What is this song about?" And he would like kind of like explain to me, "Oh, this song's about this." And I think that really triggered something in me as far as like, oh, cool. Like all of these things have different meanings. And then I think it like kind of sparked something like when I did start writing songs, I'm like, oh, I want all this stuff to like mean something, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, lots of influences.
That's awesome. Okay. So would you say that inspired you somehow to become a songwriter?
Yes, okay. I think so. And I think too, like
analyzing like certain songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, I feel like when I was growing up, I was like so in my head of like I don't know, a big like there's always like a story happening in my head. Like if that makes sense. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, today I'm at school, but I would like have like coinciding with like a story that was happening in my head of like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. Like I don't know, like it was like a dumb thing, but I realized I think like I do that in my like songwriting too, where I'm like, a lot of the songs, yes, you obviously get from like personal experiences.
Yes.
But then you also just like, you know, like when we're watching a movie or listening to a podcast or like whatever, that can also inspire us. And like sometimes they are situations that we've never lived before, but they are still familiar to us because we live in the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes like a lot of the songs that I have written are kind of like stories, you know, that I've like made up, but like still I'm like attached to somehow, you know?
I love that. So, and they're very like relatable.
Yeah. So like I have a song called Palm Reader, and it's very, nice. It's like, it's inspired by like I was going through a breakup and stuff. That I want to get off again relationship.
Oh my God.
So many songs
that
about
one
it.
Breakup.
I know, right? I'm like, but like, you know, there's a story there in my head about, but I was influenced by this thing, but then it became something else, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. Right. It's fun. I love the songwriting process.
What would you say? Oh, great. What would you say your songwriting process is like?
I mean, obviously, like I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm like, I'm with musicians. So I'm like, to me, I'm like, we're all on the same wavelength, but like for the listener that's not a musician, I'm like, it happens different every single time, you know? Like, I think more times than not, I love melodies and I'll get like a melody in my head.
Nice.
And sometimes it does come with like I have a song called Rockstar. And it was on my first album, but I actually took it off of streaming services and now I play that with the Kerosene Hymns. So it's now re-released, but under the album with the Kerosene Hymns. But when I wrote that song, like, the melody and the lyrics of the chorus just like came out first.
Okay.
And it's just like, I'm in love with a rock star, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like that happens to me a lot. Or sometimes I write down like notes in my phone of just like different ideas that I have and different, I love a cool,
like a brain dump.
Yeah, exactly. A brain dump. And then also just like, I love like different titles. I don't know, like a cool title to me is like cool. Like, like my song Palm Reader, I was inspired by it. Like I was driving down the street and saw Palm Reader. So I just like wrote that in my notes. And then when I was feeling this feeling of whatever it was I was feeling when I sat down to write that song, I looked through my notes and I was like, how I'm feeling like can go into this idea that I wrote down a couple months ago, you know?
I love that.
It happens differently every single time, but yeah.
That's so cool. That's so nice. Yeah. Cause, I mean, we've had people saying like the different writing process and how they, you know, I always like wonder if they have like a little kind of like a step-by-step thing, but it's never a step-by-step, right?
Yeah.
It's always either like I sit down on the piano and like I write chords and then I put melody on top of it. Or some people are like, I write lyrics first and then I, you know,
and then like, and
some people can't do that. They're like, I see the lyrics and I go, no, I can't. Like, I can't, I need to write the melody.
Like write the melody or something.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see like, or to hear the different.
And that's what's so exciting about it is that like, I'm like, cool. I know that it'll happen differently next time too, which makes it more exciting, you know? So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So we've noticed that you gigged in Nashville, but also you said that you recorded your first.
Yes.
You said 2 albums?
Yes. And actually none of them are like, they can't be heard anywhere. I did take them down, but I do play those songs out still. And I do want to, you know, I recorded them when I was like 18. So I'm like, my voice, I'm like, now I'm like, I can't, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, but I do still play those songs out and I want to like almost like re-record them or some of them and like release them again. Yes. But yeah, anyway, sorry, go on with your
No. My question was like, what was your experience like recording the show? I don't know if I asked you this, but what was your experience like? And yeah. I have another question, but I want to
start with that one. Okay. Yeah. It was awesome. And, you know, recording those first 2 albums in Nashville was my first experience ever recording anything. So as the years have gone on, it's changed a little bit. But for those albums, I met my producer that I ended up working with from my like sound engineer in Arizona, because I did one song on my first album. I recorded 1 song or 2 songs, I guess, in Arizona. The rest I did in Nashville, and my sound engineer in Arizona introduced me to my producer in Nashville. Nice. So he, I went to Nashville with like a bunch of songs, you know, and showed him a bunch, and we chose from there like which 10 we were gonna do, and then he like I had never done this. I was just like, cool, I wrote the song on my guitar and didn't really understand like the world of and the role of a producer. And I'd never played with a band before. So it was really cool to like bring these songs that I wrote on my like acoustic guitar. Right. And it was my first experience of having them turned into something bigger than just that,
Right. Like more like the instrumentation and everything.
Yes.
The production. And then listen until you're like, what? Like,
well, exactly. And I've learned so much now because it's like now I go in and I'm like to my producer and whoever I'm working with, I'm like, cool, this is the song. And this is the, I guess like the track or the example track of like, kind of how I want it to be. Like I want it to be a little bit more like hairstyles or whatever it is,
I say.
And I didn't know it because like when we were producing, he's like, I had a song called Summer Love on one of those albums. And he's like, oh yeah, we should do like kind of like a reggae feel for this. So it was such a cool, like learning experience. I love those songs. I'm still friends to this day with my producer out there. And now I've worked with a lot of different people but I still take like that first experience. I mean, honestly, I feel so lucky with my first couple of experiences that I had going into this career. Cause I think I had a lot of things could have gone wrong. Now being in it for a while, I'm like, oh, I could have seen how this could have gone wrong or this could have gone wrong. Yeah. But I feel like I'm very lucky with like the people who I've had helping me,
That's awesome. Yeah. No, it's always about the people that you meet and how, it's not really about how they can help you, but it's like how you wouldn't expect. Yes. You wouldn't expect that. It's kind of like, it's like, oh, that's nice. And like, then like, you meet someone and then, well, at least this is how it works for me. Like I meet someone and like, they probably have a lot of connections. They probably don't. I don't know. Yeah. But somehow that person unexpectedly led me to somewhere else, right? And I love when that happens.
It's so
when it's
cool.
just naturally. It's like
and organic. I love that when it happens like organically, and you learn. I mean, after doing this for a while, it's like you learn that. I think when you first start out, at least for me, like when I first started, I'm like, I'm gonna play at this club and somebody's gonna walk in. That doesn't happen anymore, well,
you never know.
But you never know. And that's the thing. It doesn't happen, I think, in that way that we see in the movies as like,
absolutely,
come over here, we're gonna sign you and da-da-da,
Absolutely.
It happens in that you make a connection with somebody and then you create like a genuine relationship. Because now I've just come to the conclusion, like, I want to make music and play shows that I want to play with people that I genuinely like to spend time with, and
you want to have fun.
And whatever comes from that, like, great, we'll see what comes from it. But
absolutely.
I mean, there's no guidebook in this career,
not at all. Not at all. What would you say? Like, I don't know if you were in Nashville enough for this or, but would you say you would prefer like the music scene in Nashville or in LA?
That's such a tricky question.
Why LA? Like, why did you decide LA instead of Nashville?
Man, I have so I go to Nashville pretty frequently now. Like I'm going in October and then I'm going back in November.
Nice.
And I me as like a country artist, it's like important to have that presence there.
Absolutely.
And I work now. I feel like I work pretty evenly with like producers out of Nashville and out of LA.
Nice.
And I love, to kind of answer your question, I love both of the scenes for different reasons.
Okay.
Why LA? At the time, especially, and when I moved to LA, I was in Nashville recording those albums, and I felt like I was just another blonde wannabe Taylor Swift because there was so many of that.
What was the year that you were doing?
Oh man,
that?
what year is that? Like 2013, 2014.
Okay. Oh, so and it was kind of like when she was
exactly
sort of transitioning into like country to pop, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And Nashville's changed a lot since then. But at the time, it was still like very country. Which obviously I was country, but I was like, I want to like go someplace where I can maybe like stand out.
Right.
And that's why I chose LA. From a number of reasons. I had like family friends out here that could kind of help me out.
I love that.
I was close enough to Arizona. But I'm really glad that I came to LA because I think I grew as an artist in a different way, and started creating songs that with like LA producers that would do like a country spin on it, but it didn't all sound exactly how like things might sound out of Nashville, you know?
I see.
Which isn't bad, but like I think that I've grown a lot as an artist and as a songwriter in LA. But I love them both. And like for me now, like I always go back and forth with the idea of moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And my fiance, he actually went to Vanderbilt and lived in Nashville for a while. So we always like, should we go back? Should we go back? Should we stay here? I don't know. But what's so cool about today's day and age is that like there's such a bridge between the two cities. There's such a bridge between everything. You know, like if the pandemic brought us one thing, it's like virtual writing, virtual meetings, virtual everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, I even have virtual meetings with people in my same state. But like we're like we don't want to drive, you know.
Yeah, let's just you're 20 minutes away. That's too far.
That's too far. I got things to do today, you know. So it's nice to you know, I feel like, and I do go there so often, you know, that I can kind of like stay here because I do like, man, you know, if music didn't have anything to do with anything, with like the weather and like everything, I just love Southern California, you know.
Okay, so you would choose it either way, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I mean, things might change. I have dabbled with the idea of like going to Nashville like for a year. At least I'd say to myself, you know, I'll go for a year. Like it's not goodbye because I'm a very sentimental person. Yeah. And I'm like saying goodbye to LA would be hard for me, I think. And like not even for like a music standpoint, just for like my life here, you know.
Absolutely.
I've been here for like a while now, like 10 years almost.
I see what you mean.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's an artist that I play for that she does a lot of country rock.
Okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And she also was like, you know, but she's also queer. So she was she was like, I don't know, like I love Nashville and she goes to Nashville all the time. But she's like, I just feel like I have more of like what you said, like I'd like a spotlight somehow in LA. Yes. Because I'm like sort of country.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think that there's totally like there are also like opportunities that I've gotten in LA as a country artist that like I got to open up for like Toby Keith and Kit Moore and Keith. Like Old Dominion and Scotty McCurry. I've gotten to open up for a lot of people on the West Coast because they're not going to fly out somebody at my level from Nashville.
I see.
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean.
So I feel like I've gotten a lot of opportunities, but you know, with that said, it's like, and I'm always saying this too, because, you know, I feel like I've learned a lot in my years doing this, but I also don't know everything. So who knows? Maybe I'm doing everything wrong. But but like I don't know. For now, I'm like, you know, and maybe that'll change. But I love both places. But then also, just for like life, I'm like, I'm close to my family out here, and I think sometimes as musicians we forget about quality of life, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like because we're always grinding and we're like, I gotta do everything for this, but sometimes, and I think the pandemic taught me this, I want to ride my bike to the beach today. Like, dude, you know, like I want to do something like that, you know? Yeah.
For me, it's like literally like traveling or like or going to a place that it's like outside of the city a little bit more. Yeah. I'm definitely a beach person, but also like I love the woods and stuff like that. So it's like either or. Like I just need like a little break, right? You just need to like get away from the city, get away from, you know, I don't know, the quickness of life. Yeah, you know? Like the fast pace, like city life. Absolutely. And it's like social media too. It's like it's great and it's bad, you know? Like oh my God, wait, talking about social media. Yeah. How do you feel like oh my God, wait, my phone is dying. How do you feel about like how social media has like such a strong influence in the music scene? Oh man. Like, oh man, it's so tricky because I really do believe that like today is like the best and worst time to be an independent artist and probably to be a signed artist too, because lots of independent artists are doing quote unquote better in some areas than signed artists, because now it doesn't necessarily, like in the old days, your goal was to get signed by a label because they would develop you and put money into you and how all this stuff, you know, happen. Do the promotion and do everything. Yeah, like the distribution of your music and everything. Yes. But like that's not the case anymore because also labels want people that they know they'll make money from. Yeah, now labels want like, okay, they're like, okay, they can make this by themselves. So why don't we just but why don't we sign artists that are already, that have already a fan base that we can
Like that went viral on TikTok, and here we
Build off
go.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
And I do this because it's like, well, they already are built. Like they could do it by
Yes.
themselves, but I guess a good label like that could help you, but it's not like they find you
Yes.
with nothing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why like everybody and I'm sure like probably like you've gotten this question too. It's like, oh yeah, so is your goal to be signed? I'm like, I don't know. Like in this day and age, it would have to depend on what they could do for me.
100%.
You know, and like
100%.
I don't know.
Because
Yeah,
some
it's so
labels
hard.
say like, yeah, we can do this for you, and then they don't.
And then then they don't, or then they shelve you. They sign you to shelve you so that you're not in direct competition with one of their own artists. Like there's just so
Absolutely.
many variations. But yeah, with social media, it's like, man, TikTok. I love it as a consumer, like not even as a creator. I love it. I'm like, it's so fun. I don't even like, honestly, I don't even listen or look at the music stuff. I've got food. I'm like in another life, I was a food critic. For me, I don't know.
For me, it's just like, oh my God, it's like interior design and shit like that.
No, and I love, or like silly videos or whatever, you know. But yeah, like as a creator, I'm still figuring that out. I think my niche on that app, you know, and things always change too. Because I feel like I was like, oh cool, I'm doing this, and then like, oh that's not cool anymore. Now it's this app, and then now it's this, and there'll be something else that comes after this, you know.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think it's definitely necessary. It's like you have to have a presence and try
Absolutely.
and everything on social media, but
Absolutely.
you can't let it affect you. And I do. I mean, we all do, right? But
no,
it's like
it's such
you can't.
Yeah, it's such a hustle sometimes to just be like, okay, do I want to record a video or do I have to record a video?
Yes, and also I'm like, probably like for me, anything that I've ever done that has done quote unquote well, as far as like a song or a video, there are things that I didn't do with any intention of doing well or anything.
You were just like, I'm just doing it.
And it's like, I want to do this. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's number one. Like, and I'm trying to
100%.
get back into that mindset because
100%.
I think maybe we've all gotten into that mindset of like, I got to do this, not because I want to, you know. So
It's sad because I feel like at some point, you kind of hit a wall and you're like, I have to, like, not I have to, but I have to alone.
Yeah.
So you hit a wall and you're like, I don't want to keep doing this because I have to. I want to keep doing this with like an intention of like, I want to do this because it makes me happy.
with the joy of it, like why you started.
Because I'm having fun.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And things just literally fall into place when you do that. And it's just crazy when that happens. When you just kind of like let it go a little more. You're just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna decompress.
Like, they say like oh, like when will you find the one? When you stop looking. Like,
and
you know what I mean?
100% that's true.
Like, and like, I feel like that's true even like with this. It's like, oh, like when will I, you know, I feel like with anything in life, like when will I like do super well in this field or do whatever? It's like, keep on trying, but don't make that your full focus all the time, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I feel like there is always a way to not take yourself too seriously. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when you take life and yourself so seriously, I mean, sure, you will make things happen, but first of all, you're probably not going to have any fun. And second of all, like, I think it's just much more, what is enjoyment, right? And like that, like that way of like getting to the goal, right? Like you don't enjoy it all, the process of it.
Well, and I feel like in this day and age, we kind of forget that like we're living life now,
right?
You know, it's not like, and I'm guilty of it too, where it's like, I'll be happy when this, I'll be happy when this.
Absolutely.
I'm like, oh no, I've ruined the podcast. I'm kidding. But it's like, you forget, and I forget where I'm like, this is life. Like, I'm going to look back on this, what I'm doing right now.
Absolutely.
And whether I make it to wherever I want to go, it's great to have goals. I have goals.
Absolutely.
But it can't be like
I want to be happy when that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then it just becomes like you get there and then.
You get there. Yeah, exactly. You get there and you're like, oh, now what? And you always hear, right, from people who are there and they're like, oh yeah, I got there and I realized, oh, that isn't the answer to everything, you know?
Absolutely.
So
I think it's just a matter of like, just coming back to like just the present and enjoying and like knowing that life's so short. Honestly, that sounds so funny.
No,
but
it
is so short that
it
you
is.
just honestly just do whatever you want to really do. And like just, I mean, obviously don't be reckless.
Don't hurt
right?
anybody. But
but yeah. So so what is I'm curious on like what is the kind of like what do you want to transmit with your music?
Oh man.
What is the message you want?
The message, yeah. I think I always like try to write songs from the heart, and obviously, right, like as artists, it's like we go through something in life and we create around that, or even if we're not like directly writing about the thing we're going through, whatever we create came from what we're going through, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think like my goal, it's like when I listen to like some of my favorite artists, like Taylor Swift does an amazing job, or like Harry Styles, where it's like, oh, they're talking about this like personalized thing, but I can relate to it because I've gone through something like that. That's what I want. I want people who, like, all of us are on different journeys and have gone through different hardships or different ups or whatever it is in life. And I want people to kind of like hear themselves or see themselves in my music as much as they can.
I see. That's awesome. It's like almost like looking. I was just talking to one of my best friends about this last night. He was like, oh my God, he's a gay man. So he loves Lana Del Rey so much.
Oh my goch, yes, I love it.
Of course he does. I mean, every gay man loves Lana.
Yeah.
But like, it's because of her lyrics, right? But he was like, I just feel like I'm like almost like in the water, in like the depths of the water with her, like submerged in like when I listen to her music, like I just like, I get into this like different world almost, right? And I was like, wow. That's crazy. And like, that's pretty much like, I mean, hopefully that was her intention. You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Like that's, as an artist, it's like you want people to feel so connected to what you make.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. That's so beautiful.
That's super cool.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, cool. So if you would have to pick one word that describes you,
oh man,
what would that word be?
Oh man, that's a hard one.
Sorry.
Okay, let me think. Oh man, I would say, I'm trying to think because I'm like, I feel like there's so many different words. Ooh, like, I would say like, I feel determined.
I love
like,
that.
I feel like I'm somebody that like, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I guess I'll just keep on doing it. Like, you know, and
I love that so much.
Yeah. So I would say determined, and I try to keep a positive attitude with it, but sometimes it's not always, but I'm still determined. You
Happens. Know? Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good one, honestly. Yeah. I mean, do you want to tell everyone about your like future projects? Like what, like something like something that you're excited about?
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's your camera right there.
Like, where are they? Hello, everyone. Yeah, well, I guess I would just like to let everybody know I will be releasing a lot of new music in the new year, and I'll be releasing Damn Good Life, and then another song that I'm really excited about. It'll be my first release of the new year. It's called Cosmic Cowgirl.
That's awesome.
And
that's awesome.
I'm like, think Joshua Tree, right? Look at it. That's, you know, I have a lot of new music coming out and songs that I'm so excited about, songs that I've written, some a couple years ago, some a couple months ago, some maybe I haven't even written yet, but all coming out next year. And then lots of shows this fall before I kind of stop for the year. I'm playing a couple of festivals. I'm in Arizona. I'll be playing Oktoberfest and Phoenix Pride.
Awesome.
And
Phoenix Pride.
I know, yeah. I'm an ally. And what else? Yeah, just like a lot of things like that. So, and I got a Christmas song or a New Year's song coming out. So
I need to hear that now.
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, let's get into the Christmas. I'm like, I still need to get through Halloween though. I'm a big Halloween girl.
Absolutely. Well, it's been so nice to have you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for performing and
thanks for having me.
Yes. You're
so
great.
Fun.
Yes, you're great. And please go follow her and go follow the Fireplace everywhere.
Yes.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Thank you.